Welcome people. Today I want to talk about this sentence structure. This is it. If X leads to A, then you need to know the cause of X. This is the structure of a sentence as said in a video, and I wanted to reflect on it by looking at the formula, the structure that that sentence had. And if I deconstruct it, I come on this. If X is cause, leads to A is desired outcome, then you need to know the causes of X. That was it. That was the sentence that I said. I don't remember exactly what I said. This writing, I have it already on it for a while, so I don't remember exactly what it is that I said. But this was the structure of the sentence. Now I wrote it down and I started to reflect. Because one thing that I like about having sentences deconstructed in such a manner is that once you see it, you remember it. And once you remember it, you can use it again in different circumstances. But now, the extent to which its benefit will be great or small is dependent on the extent to which you actually process it. So I started reflecting on it, not merely pondering, but actually looking at when do I use this and what does this really do? And when is its usage actually something that will lower you and the benefit will not be there? And when, on the contrary, will the benefit be there? What are the conditions that must be met by it? And conditions are something that I like a lot because I have realized that in life, any single information, any single bit that you have of information, it is useful, but it all comes down to the extent of which you have knowledge and understanding of its conditions. For example, if I know that putting a seed in the ground may lead to a tree of some sort growing, is that beneficial knowledge, or is that knowledge that has no benefit at all? Well, it depends. Do I understand the conditions? Do I understand the conditions of when to put the seed in the ground? Do I know the condition of in what kind of ground it can go in? Do I know whether the product of this fruit, what I can do with it, when it is beneficial and when it is not? What would the effects be of what I could do with the effect of putting the seed in the ground, i.e., the tree that grows out of it? What can I do with it? The tree is the effect of the seed being put in the ground. What effect does the tree lead to? It can lead to a shadow. It can lead to a fruit. It can be a source or be used as a source of, how do you call it? Of wood. And then from all those different effects, I want to know also what you can do with the effects of the effect of the seed. So if the seed leads to the tree and the tree leads to the fruit, well, what can the fruit lead to? What can the wood lead to? What can it be used to? So then you see, the more I broaden my understanding of the effects the deeper you go, the further you go, the deeper your awareness will be of the benefit that lies in the seed. And that is what I call being aware on a higher level. People don't operate on same levels of awareness. Some people have very limited awareness. Some people have very high levels of awareness. The more aware you are, the more you can be strategic, the stronger your strategic element will be, because you know what you can do with what is. Okay? And so this simple structure here, you may think to yourself, well, what can I do with this? Or what is the purpose of this video? But that is the very thing I do not want to do. I don't want to say that this video is for these kinds of people with these kinds of problems, as this is something that you find everywhere. Wherever you go, people tell you, if you want to start a business, you need to know what people you are making the videos for, and you need to also know what problem is it that you are trying to tackle. But I don't operate like that. I don't operate singling out one problem, singling out one group, and saying this is what I am going to serve, or these are the people that I'm going to serve, and this problem is what I'm going to try and solve. Because I myself have never operated in that manner. Rather, what I understood has always been, the deeper your level of awareness is, the more strategic advantage you have. And now there are people who have this high level of awareness. They're aware of a lot of things. Now, that high level of awareness increases your potential for action. It increases your strategic potential. It increases what you can achieve, what you can see that others don't. It's an advantage, but it's abstract. It's a potential. From the people with high levels of awareness, there then is a very small percentile that actually uses it to their benefit. And then, when you are talking about that, when you're talking about the people with high levels of awareness and they're actually using that, then you can divide those people in different categories. The first category is the people who have high levels of awareness and they use it for themselves, for their own benefit. This is what I call power. Now, when we talk about power, this is a word that has evil connotations to it. And this is something that I am aware of. But when I am thinking, I do not really take into consideration the negative connotations words have. Rather, I strip them of their negative connotation so that I can use their meanings. And power is the word I use to describe these kinds of people who use their knowledge and their intelligence and their awareness to their own benefit. Now, this is one branch that you can go into. From the people that use their knowledge and their high levels of awareness to their own benefit, there are those who are bound by boundaries, and there are those who are not. Those who are bound by boundaries, here I am talking about moral boundaries, they have something by which they self-regulate. And for the religious people, this is something that has been given to them by God. So even though they are aware that by doing such and such and such, it may lead to this outcome, and so they may be tempted to do it, they will abstain from it because of their worldview and because of what it means within their worldviews, within their religion. And then there are people who have the sense of moral, I've forgotten how they call themselves, but these people, yeah, they call it a moral compass, and they obey that. And there also are people that don't have any. And so if they have high levels of awareness and they are not narcissists, meaning, actually, let's forget about that word. Let's put the word narcissist aside. There are people who do not need validation. There are people who do not need approval. And there are people who are not controlled by their desires and whims. Those are the people that truly are dangerous because they do not have any authority above them, nor are they controlled by anything above them. And that is very, very, very rare to find. And when I say rare, I am not saying this to make of this group a exclusive elitist group so that those who are among them will feel a certain way. No, I am saying this and I truly mean it. These people are extremely rare because reaching the point where one does not need validation and one does not need approval and one has no attachments to things outside of himself, and the person on top of that also is not controlled by his ego or by his desires. This is a person that, if on top of that he also is not from among the people who say we are of those who are trying to have no ego, like this philosophy that has been spread, especially from the East, from the Eastern world, where they praise people being in a manner where they don't have, where they say we're trying to have no ego because the ego is a lie and it is just a story that you tell yourself about who you are, but really you are just awareness. And coming back to this state is our purpose. And through achieving this state, there are some bigger things that you can achieve, like the stopping of rebirth or something like that. I don't know exactly how their beliefs are, but I think it is approximately like that. But imagine a person that quote unquote has no ego, in the sense of he is not controlled by his ego, and on top of that he has all of these characteristics. He has high levels of awareness, he has great intelligence, and he is able, like, he is free of attachment, free of the need of validation, free of the need of approval, free of the need of attention, free from quote unquote ego. He is not controlled by it. This is a person that is very strong because he is not passive, rather he is active, but he is not controlled. Meaning that whatever this person does, he does it because he wills it. And as I said earlier, he has no authority above him, which is what makes him dangerous and scary. Because this kind of person who does not believe in a higher authority above him to whom he submits, or to whom he follows, okay? This kind of person, he can do whatever he wills. And whatever he makes his goal, all else will serve that goal, including himself, every part of his body, and every part of his intelligence, and every part of his awareness, and every part of the world, and his words, and everything will serve that goal. But the problem here is that the goal, it did not come from God. It came from himself. And of course, the human is imperfect. And now this person, what he is going to become is a person that is very powerful. Because you need to understand this. Most people want self-benefit, but due to their weakness and their need for approval and all attention and fulfilling their desires and all of these things, they are distracted from that. So they really cannot build anything substantial. Then you have some people who build, but they don't really have the deep awareness, and they also are not of those who, they have no ego and all of these things. So they will be building, but they're not really building in service of themselves. They think they're building for them, but really they're just building according to a system that has already been set. They're growing within the system. They're becoming better players of the game, not standing outside of it. You see? Then you have people who are passive. They see and they understand, but they're very passive. These are like the, the monkish people or the energy people, no ego stuff. They will sit and they will try to have no thoughts. And they will go through life and they will say nothing really matters. You're just awareness. They're not trying to achieve a goal. They are not moving with a certain presence. They're not moving with weight. Rather, they're freeing themselves with. They have no weight. There is no I. There is no identity. There is nothing. There just is. They're just aware. And in all honesty, I'm not saying this with any intended disrespect, but it's like animals. Animals also, they have awareness. They don't think to themselves, I am a llama, so I do this. I am a sheep and I do this. No, no, no. They just are. The same manner, those people also are trying to just be. And these people also are no real threat because, they're just eliminating themselves by literally eliminating themselves. There is no thought, there is no nothing, okay? Then there are the people who are free from the need of approval and free from the need of validation. You see? But they are not necessarily of those who have this high level of awareness and stuff. Maybe you will see people who have strong personalities. When something wrong is being done, they will say it. You see? It is not really something like you would say, okay, they really are above the game. No, 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 no. But when you're talking about the people who have, like, there is nothing above them, nothing that controls them above themselves, and they themselves, and I'm not saying that they are worthy of being worshipped, nor am I saying that they are God, but in a sense, they're making of themselves a God. Because wrong and right is not what is wrong or right. Wrong and right is not what is beneficial or not. Like, they are not submitting to any system. It is all based on the I. And then whatever internal model that person may have, that is what will decide what they will do. Maybe it's optimizing for survival, and then they will use their high levels of awareness to do that, to achieve that goal. Maybe they will say that maybe their goal will be to gain power. I don't know what the goal of such person may be. Without any of those things, what would you want to do? What would you want to achieve? I would say such a person either goes into hedonism, or maybe truly I only see such a person being dangerous if they were to seek power. For such a person, there is no such thing as truth. So when they understand how influence works, they don't really have to consider truth or not. Rather, truth is what is made to be coherent. Truth is coherence, really. To such a person, when truth does not exist, when the higher authority does not exist, that is what will make them charismatic, because they know to say the right thing at all times. And it is not because they're intelligent or necessary, like they're special or something. Rather, the charisma, it stems from the person being disbeliever of any truth or of any higher authority. And that lowers the cognitive load a person has. You have to think about it in this manner. A person that believes in truth and that believes in God and that believes in the day of judgment and all of these things, when the person is speaking, there is always something higher governing over them. When they speak, they're self-monitoring. When they speak, they're also comparing to truth, and they are taking something into consideration. But when you disbelieve in all of these things, you become smoother, and that smoothness, increase of smoothness, it converts and it shows as charisma. It shows as confidence. it shows as wittiness, it shows as flow, it shows as smoothness. And that is easy for the one who does not believe. That is easy for the one to whom truth is whatever is said with the most confidence, whatever is said, and it is made coherent. That is what truth is. Then you don't have to take into consideration a lot of things. And anyways, let's go back. So when we are talking about this sentence, if cause leads to desired outcome, then you need to know the causes of cause. So if X leads to A, then you need to know the causes of X. The sentence is plain, as I said, but by increasing your levels of awareness, oh shit, I forgot. I actually was talking about, so you have one person that serves himself, and then you also have the person that serves something other outside of himself. Okay? So the person serves either himself or the person serves something outside of himself. Like the person serves a mission or a belief or a life goal or whatever, a divinity. This person will use his higher levels of awareness all in service of this purpose, of this mission, of this life goal. And that is someone who is less dangerous. He is less dangerous than the first type who serves himself. Because this is a person that has something outside of himself against which he can measure himself. And thus, this thing outside of him controls him to a degree. A person whose mission is world peace, he is limited to that which is contrary to this world peace. You see? So there is something he can be held to account to. Or the person who says he worships God, he also has boundaries to which he has to take care of. He has to respect. The person who makes his life mission such, he cannot just do anything. The one who does not serve anything, he is the truly dangerous one, because whilst person B, so the one who does serve something, for example, that person may be in a relationship with you and they are truthful, because truthfulness is something that the purpose necessitates. Like it necessitates it by implication, okay? But then person A may be in a relationship with you, but when they have no use for you any longer, they may just change. They may just decide that any proof for, like any proof of such and such no longer is a desired thing. So they eliminate you. They can. Why? Because they decided to. And there is nothing outside of them that will create cognitive dissonance to them or for them. They will never feel, oh, this is my life mission and I'm doing this. No, I actually like this, this doesn't make any sense. No, they're not going to have that. Because they are fully healed, complete people who do not have, oh yeah, and also that is, now I'm talking about the person who does not need approval, does not have ego, all of these things. Rather, his ego is pragmatic. He has a pragmatic ego. He knows how to activate it. He knows that when he says such and such internally, it leads to him activating certain parts of his ego. Whilst other people, they live their lives according to a certain story, living a certain story. They understand, I can choose the story. And if I temporarily tell myself that this is the story, then this is the way I will naturally start acting. If I tell myself that the story is different, then I will start acting differently. And if I tell myself I am such, then I will act differently. And if I tell myself I am another thing, then I will act in another way. And they experiment. What does what lead to? What leads to what? And thus they can use their ego to their advantage. By knowing the effects of the seeds, they can choose which seed to plant. And so I would say that the highest form of life, I would say, if there was no God, but there is a God. But if for me, the path I would hold the highest if there was no God, but there is a God. But I'm just confronting those who disbelieve in God in the sense of it doesn't make sense that you are just following your natural instinct when you don't believe in God. I believe that you are submitting to a system within you instead of questioning the system itself and rewriting it according to some foundational whatever that you actually approve of. And I would say that you should not approve of any foundation except your own will, because in the end, that is the only thing you're certain of. So why do you not delete the whole code and only submit to your will, only follow your will? That is the path I felt drawn to. Have no ego, be healed, have no need for approval, have no need for this. And then learn human nature, learn influence, learn persuasion, learn. Now, whilst no one and nothing has power over you, you have the potential of it. You have the potential for power, you have the potential for influence, you have the potential of it all. To me, that is a great thing. To me, that would be the most logical thing to do. But, Alhamdulillah, I know my Lord, and I know that I have not been created in vain. I know that there is an authority outside of me to whom I have to submit, and I do so willingly, and I do so with love, with pleasure, because he is worthy of it, not myself, not my ego. But so when it comes to the sentence structure, if X leads to A, then you need to know the causes of X. This is something, just as the examples I gave earlier, you need to know what it leads to and what it leads to can lead to. In fact, that is the key word, can. What can this lead to? And then what this can lead to. And the more what it leads to lead to, the more you add that, and the more of those you answer, the more powerful the sentence structure will be. And it's just like with anything in life. If you know that slapping someone what can that lead to? What can this lead to? And and in what context does it lead to that? And in what conditions must be met for that effect to be likely to take place? The more you deepen your awareness, the more you can use it strategically. The more data you have, the more accurate you become. The more data you have, the more you are likely to achieve your goals or whatever you want. And again, you don't need to know beforehand for what you're going to use it. You just need to be aware. And then for whatever purpose you want to use it, you will use it. And also one thing that I would like to add to this is that once you start approaching learning with this attitude, then you need to be very focused on purifying yourself, because otherwise you are strengthening and developing your ability to act according your will. Like you're developing your ability to act your will, so that it is not just a wish, but rather it becomes a reality, you could say. And if the I is bad, then the I will want that which is harmful and destructive, not necessarily because it is harmful and destructive, but simply because, like, as it, that is what it leads to. That which the I wants leads to those things. It leads to harm, it leads to those things. So you need to develop yourself whilst also developing your ability and your capacity and your power and all of these things. And the more you neglect that, if you neglect yourself, but you increase your, I call this power because it's your ability to do something, to achieve what you want. Okay? And again, please forget about the negative connotation. When other people are talking about it, yes, think of the negative connotation. But here, I truly am using the word as a neutral word, not one implying all of the bad things. Although it has potential for it. To me, power is just something that is neutral, really. And I truly mean this. I'm not saying this because I want to promote that which is evil, but I just want to dissociate myself from the negative connotation. No, I actually mean it in a neutral sense. Like, it is power that you are gaining through this. So the more you gain power, but you neglect yourself, the more that power will, in the end, lead to harm to others and yourself. But the more you also work and develop yourself, then the hope is that the harm that will come out of you will also be less, and rather you are strengthening that which is good. So the eye is, inshallah, if Allah wills, it inclines to good. Okay, and then you also use what you learn, like the power you gain. The power is being increased, like the power is increasing, but for a force of good, you can say. So the force of good is becoming stronger. That is what you want. But if you are increasing your power, but you don't really purify yourself or develop yourself or strengthen yourself internally, then you're going to use it for bad things, and we don't want that. And also, you really have to take into consideration, especially as a Muslim, that whatever power you gain, if your own state is bad, then you will just be using it in a way where your success actually is self-sabotaging you, where the more money you gain and you buy things that are unbeneficial or harmful and you're enjoying them and you're having success, what is success to the evil person is actually his own destruction on the day of judgment. He is having all of these women around him and he's enjoying it. He has success. But really, that success on the day of judgment, he is self-sabotaging. So it would have been better if he didn't have that power. Then at least he wouldn't have acquired all of those things. So that is why, as you gain power and as you are seeking power, and when I'm talking about power, I'm not talking about you being in a position of authority where you tell people do this, don't do this, or where you have responsibility of other people. I'm not saying all of these things. Don't seek positions of power in that sense. But I'm saying about power in the sense of your ability, the ability to do what you want to do, to achieve what you want to achieve. And of course, you cannot do any of that, um, but with the help of Allah. You need to always tie it to Allah. Whatever good you do, Alhamdulillah, that's from Allah. You need to truly not just say Alhamdulillah. You need to truly know and feel that nothing is independent from Allah. So if you had this knowledge and then you used it and then it benefited you and then you achieved what you wanted to achieve, you need to know this is being maintained by Allah, it is being sustained by Allah. You have it on a lease, you will bring it back, and you have to bring it back in a good condition, and you need to use it in a manner that pleases Allah, because He will ask you about it. And so if you misuse it, then doom is for you. Like, it's not good. But if you use it in a way that pleases him, then that is good. So really, the more you gain power, the more important it is that you gain closeness to Allah, that you are a grateful servant, that you use what He has given you for His obedience and not for disobedience, and that you do not let that quest for power, or that you do not let your power lead to you, like distract you from Allah, because that would be a very unwise thing to do, because it is you being busy with what is in the hand of Allah was forgetting himself, which really makes not a lot of sense, because you yourself are His, and what is busying you from Him is also His. And as you are distracted from Him, He is the one who is sustaining you in real time. He is the one who is recreating you. He is the one who is giving permission, not just, it's not a system, it's Him literally giving permission every single second, or even fraction of second, or however, whatever. Every single creation He is given permission for it to exist again, for you to exist, for your heart to beat, for your blessings to be maintained. So it is literally, it is so strange that you would be that you would be sinning against Him whilst He is sustaining you in real time. He is sustaining you in real time. He is recreating you in real time, and you are being distracted from Him. That is a strange position to be in. You're going against all natural, like you're going against nature, really. You're going against the natural order of things. So have power. Do not be afraid of it. Seek power. Do not be afraid of it. But understand that as you gain power, it will magnify and amplify whatever you are. So you must then also realize that the importance of you becoming better, you becoming good, is increasing as you increase in power. Otherwise you will do with it that which will be proof against you. You will do with it that which will harm you. You will do with it that which will destroy you. And your success will not truly be success, rather it will be success in self-sabotaging. And that is also one of the strangest positions to be in, where you are doing that which destroys you or harms you, and you're actively exerting yourself through that. It is like someone was running and sweating on his own will, on his own accord. He is working hard to create the torture device that will be used for him, and he will neither be in a state of life nor death. Rather, he will just be tortured with it, and he is perfecting it, and he is making it shine, and he is making it strong, and he is making it indestructible, and he is, lowering his chances of survival and lowering his chances of escape, and all of these things. And then what happens? When he finishes and he looks at the machine, he actually feels a sense of success. Yes, look at this, and he feels pleased. And then he is taken and he is punished by it. It literally is kind of like that when you are a man of power and you are increasing in power, and this is a blessing from Allah, but you are forgetting Him, and He is allowing you to maintain your power, but now it's only increasing you in punishment, and you are being distracted from Him, and you are deluded. And then what happens? You die, and you face the consequences of your actions. But rather, if you have power and you're grateful to Allah, and it does not distract you from Him, and you remember Him and you obey Him and you stay away from disobediences, then that power, He will inshallah be using it for good. So really the goal is you. The goal is you increasing your power and remaining close to Allah. Then naturally you will use your power also in the obedience of Allah and that which pleases Him. And that is the great success. That is the great goal. That is the thing you should aspire to. And when you do that, you will be able to benefit a lot of people. You will know how to influence people to good, bi'idhnillah. And you will have the support of Allah. And He will provide for you from where you would not expect. And when you die, He will forgive you your sins. And He will admit you into paradise. And you will be honored. And you will be saved from disgrace and saved from His punishment. And that is great success. And imagine after your death, that which you built with your power and its benefit, of course, will only be dependent on what Allah wants it to have as benefit. And that also is dependent or correlate, or like the correlation between that, like the correlation between the effect of your actions is with your sincerity and your iman. So the closer you are to Allah, the more it will actually benefit you. And when we are talking of benefit and success and all of these things, you should forget about the matter of power and worldly success. You should forget about your worldly self. It's not about the money. It's not about this. It's not about that. No. That all is part of increasing your power. But in the end, it's all about benefiting yourself and the hereafter, because that is the eternal life. That is the life that will be forever. So whoever succeeds in the hereafter, he has achieved true success. And when we speak of gratefulness for the blessings of Allah, it not merely is about a sense of gratefulness and praising Allah. Rather, it is about using these blessings in His obedience, using them as a means to actually benefit you. And when I'm talking about benefit towards you, towards yourself, then it is the benefit in the grave, the benefit in the hereafter, the benefit in the akhirah, that it increases your ranks and your rewards, or that it becomes a means for your forgiveness. That is benefit. So if you have been given health and you are grateful for it, really, it has only really been a benefit or a blessing to you if it increases you in your standing with Allah. If you have strength, it really only has benefited you as a blessing from Allah if it has benefited you hereafter. And if you have a lamp, then it really only has benefited you if it has benefited you in the hereafter, like if it will benefit you hereafter. If you have a bed, then it truly only is a benefit if it benefits you hereafter. The blessings of Allah, you should not look at them as blessings merely because they increase your comfort in this world. Because if that is your epitome of benefit and that is where your sense of gratefulness comes from, and it is limited to that, then it is a very limited view on life. And you should aspire for something higher. You should aspire for a higher depth of understanding, wherein you realize the shortness of this world, that this world is a means to get al-Jannah, to get the pleasure of Allah, a field of working, and that if Allah has given you tools, that it is not for you to be distracted from the very purpose for which you were created, but that it is so that you can use it for the very purpose for which you were created, which is to worship Allah. and to leave behind that which will benefit you. And if you fail to do that, and if the blessing is not used in that manner, then is it truly a blessing or is it a distraction? Rather, it seems to be that it is closer to a distraction. That is something you should not accept. That is why every blessing, I believe you should try and optimize it. You should try and optimize it because the reality of a lot of things in this world, it is that if you leave it to be mediocre, to be in the middle, then it will not really benefit you. But rather, it is better for you to either not have it or to improve it so that it can actually be of great benefit. If you have a room and you have something inside the room like a screen, you either go and optimize it, and that itself is worship and it is gratefulness, that you optimize it with the intention of, or with the orientation of serving Allah. And then when you learn to use all that it has and you have optimized its potential benefit and you can use it more, i.e. you have increased your power and you are grateful for that, then what happens is that you now can use it in the worship of Allah. You can use it in a way where it benefits your hereafter. And that is the whole purpose of seeking power. That you gain strength, that you gain the presence, that you get the physique, that you get the ability to do this with the sentence structures, that you know how to influence people, that you know how to guide, that you know how to lead, that you know how to dress, that you know how to talk. All of these things, they increase your power. But what is the purpose of that power? You see, if it seeds, like if the purpose of power is power itself, and it doesn't serve something higher, then that is vain. That is truly vain. That is you being busy building I won't even say building, you are just gathering dung, you're gathering poop and looking at it, and it's just, what are you doing? It's a strange thing you are doing, whilst you could have been building a house in which you will be living forever. And then after some time they come and they throw it all away, and you are sad because that was the only thing you built. And you also have not, you don't have your home, also that people build their home, and you don't have your dung as it has been taken away from you. No, the purpose of power, you seek power to gain power, but when you have power, it is not just because you want to have power. It is not just because you want approval of people. It is not just because you want people to look at you and go, wow, look at his wealth, or look at his house, or look at his wives, or look at this, or look at that, or look at his body, or look at how he can talk. It is about none of that. In the end, you should only be pleased with it, with whatever blessing Allah gave you, if it served you in the hereafter. If it didn't, then really, you shouldn't be pleased with it. And I'm not saying that you're not pleased with it in the sense of you're displeased with Allah giving it to you, but you should be displeased with it that you yourself you did not know to use it in a way where it could benefit you. And that is what I'm saying. And so when you start optimizing everything in your life, striving for benefit in the hereafter, then what happens is that it all starts working together. Suddenly it all is one unit. And every time you prioritize God, Allah, before the power itself, it is proof that it all is still serving Him. It is proof that it all is pointed towards one direction. And as long as it all is being aimed towards the pleasure of Allah, towards benefit for your hereafter, whilst you are in a state of gratefulness and building and power, then what happens is that you succeed No, what happens is that everything becomes aligned and it starts to work with one another. And you will find that everything literally becomes aligned. You have that divine help, you have the divine pleasure, you have the protection of God. You have the, like, you are working with it to the hereafter. The dunya has, like, it literally is having its place. It is being subservient instead of having control over you, and you're using it for your benefit, and you're using it to benefit others. What better thing can there be than that? And the alternative for this is that Allah is not pleased with you, and Allah is angry with you, and when you die there is the hereafter, and you know that the hereafter is coming, but you are not living in alignment with that knowledge. And then whilst you are in this life, you are not building for the sake of Allah, you're not building for the sake of benefit in the hereafter. Rather, you're building because you want people to look at you in a certain manner. You're building because you want people to approve of you. And this is, of course, something that you will never really achieve. Or you will be like those people who say, my goal is just happiness and this and that. But you know that every moment you spend laughing with your family that is dunyawi, then it is like you are denying the hereafter because you're not preparing anything for it whilst you believe in it. And so there is that cognitive dissonance that will eat you whilst you're alive. And that is something that, of course, is very bad. You do not want that. And so the highest thing, the only thing that really makes sense is this, that you seek power where this world now becomes a means, not an opponent. You seek power, and whilst you seek power, you're grateful to Allah. That makes it legitimate. And whilst you are in a state of power, and you are oriented towards Allah, and you truly prioritize Him above all else, you use that power for your benefit in the hereafter. And that is the best way of living. Especially if you are a man of great ambition, a man of great aspiration, because you are. You do not want to simply live a life where you are alive. No, you want to live a life where you build. You want to live a life where you build. A life where you build. And you also want to do a lot of things which will only be able, you will only be able to get these things through power, bi'idhnillah. The people you want, the knowledge you want, the access you want, the support you want, the spreading of good that you want. All of those things, inshallah, if Allah wills, you only get these things through power. And that is the part that you have to do. That is your part. That is your part in all of it. It is your part to play. That you seek that power and that you build it. That you go and work and that you gain money and that you know how to increase it. And that when you have enough capacity, you take on a woman. And that when you have that woman, that you know how to educate her and to share the mission, and that she also supports it. That she doesn't become a liability, but she helps you in that. And that together now you are stronger, and you know that you can distribute some tasks. And as you are in that stage, you build even more wealth. And as you keep increasing your the people that are around you, you keep increasing the services that you are doing, you keep increasing, you keep growing. That is what you're doing, that you are seeking power, you are increasing your power. But all of that without losing sight of the goal, which is Allah. You see that you can eventually build a mosque if Allah wills, that you can eventually build or even support the cause of the Muslims wherever they are, that you can support spreading the truth, the da'wah, that you can give the Quran, that you can do all of these things through power, bi'idhnillah. And that's the real matter. That's the real matter. SubhanAllah. My neck is hurting. My neck is hurting.